One of the number one reasons why women struggle with dating and relationships today is that they choose men who are not ready for anything real. Ladies, there are lots of great relationship-ready men out here. However, you need to learn how to choose them. I wrote this book to teach you how to do just that. Get your copy of Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you on Amazon today.
Hello, everyone. All right, so I am going to give a little teaching today all about the avoidant man. And a lot of people have been sending me emails and questions about this. And so I just ended my last session for today. And I said, you know what? I'm sitting here at my desk. I still got a little energy in me. So I am going to pull up my notes and I am going to do a brief teaching about the avoidant man. So we're going to talk about the signs of men who are avoidant. We're going to talk about where avoidance comes from. And then I'm going to give you some good advice if you are dealing with a man who has more of an avoidant attachment style. Because here's the most important thing for you to know. Being in a relationship with this type of person can be very damaging. It can be very damaging to your self-esteem, to your self-worth. It can have you questioning everything. It can have you feeling as if you're the problem. And I do not encourage anyone to continue in a relationship with someone who is fearful avoidant or dismissive avoidant without having some hard conversations, without seeing some signs of improvement, or without getting professional help. Okay, so if that person is in fact one of the avoidant types, and they're willing to go into therapy with you, or they're willing to listen to audiobooks or podcasts or look at YouTube videos, there is hope. But if that person is not, if they completely shut down, if they pull away, if they discard you, I want you to walk away. I want you to save yourself in this scenario, because I know plenty of people, myself included, who have dated avoidant or emotionally unavailable men, and it will do damage to you. It will do damage to your self-worth and your self-esteem, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. It will have you questioning yourself and questioning everything. It'll make you think there's something wrong with you, and that certainly may not be the case. Even though none of us is perfect, we have our own quirks, we have our own issues and our own problems, but I'm going to give you the signs of a man who is either fearful avoidant or who is dismissive avoidant. As a former fearful avoidant myself, I've worked very hard, almost 20 years, in becoming more securely attached. Just recently, just last year, I took the attachment style quiz and my attachment style came back as secure. But it took years of work. And also, it took me choosing different types of people in my life who were also securely attached. So that's going to make all the difference. I'm going to put the link down in the description box below, because I want each and every one of you to take the attachment style quiz. So I want you to click that link in the description box below. I want you to take the attachment style quiz and determine what your attachment style is. Here's one thing that's interesting to note. So I was attracting a lot of fearful avoidant men because I myself was a fearful avoidant. So my avoidance actually attracted a lot of avoidant men. They felt like, okay, here's someone who's not quite emotionally available. And so I'm going to be drawn to her because she's not going to put a lot of pressure on me. She's not going to, be on me every day to have these hard conversations, or she's not going to be super lovey-dovey or super mushy. And so one of the things a lot of women need to determine is if they are emotionally unavailable. Are you avoidant as well? If you find yourself attracting these type of men over and over and over, then chances are pretty good that you yourself are avoidant or you have some avoidant traits. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my notes. I will give you some of the signs. Here are some common characteristics of men who are dismissive avoidant. They have a preference for solitude and independence. They are almost hyper independent. They have a difficulty with emotional intimacy and vulnerability. That's a big one. So they're not going to do things like tell you they love you, tell you they miss you. They're not going to talk about feelings. They're not going to be especially vulnerable about you and how they feel about you. They have a tendency to dismiss or minimize the importance of relationships. So a lot of times these people are lone wolves. They don't believe that other people can meet their needs. And a lot of times dismissive avoidance, because they are so self-contained, they don't rely on people. They don't ask for help. They feel like, nope, I can't do that. I can't reach out to others. I can't depend on others. I'm just going to do it myself because other people cannot be depended on. I'm just going to focus on myself. And look, they'll get into a relationship with you and they'll expect you to do that. Like, why are you asking me things? Why are you asking me to do things? Or why are you, depending on me? Like, if we're going to be in a relationship, you're going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of me. And that's how it's going to work. But that is not a healthy level of interdependence. That's not really how relationships work. The idea is that we come together and we meet each other's needs. Okay, so a lot of dismissive avoidance, they say, nope, you take care of you, I'll take care of me. I don't have any needs, you shouldn't have any needs. And, that's how we'll do things. They have a lack of interest in others' emotions or feelings. So they tend to be incredibly uncomfortable when you are angry or sad or grieving or hurt or something. That makes them very uncomfortable. They're not sure what to do, what to say. Oftentimes they'll retreat in times like that. They won't be supportive. They won't be there for you because all of that makes them very uncomfortable. They avoid commitment. Now, this is an easy one to see. This to me is one of the first signs that a man is avoidant. I want you to be on the lookout for a man who wants to plan all the dates last minute, who does not make plans 2, 3, 4, 7 days in advance. I want you to be on the lookout for a man who tells you anything like, I'm not ready for anything serious. I just got out of something. Why do we have to talk about this? Why do we have to label things? Why can't we just go with the flow? I want you to listen for all of those little catchphrases that a lot of avoidant men use. They are going to avoid labels. They're going to avoid, calling it anything. You saying, what are we, is going to send them running for the hills. They do not want to be locked into anything. They do not want to make anything solid or stable because it's the freedom. It's the ability to just go where I want, do what I want. And if I get locked into being your boyfriend, now there's a responsibility. I actually had a dismissive avoidant male tell me, well, taking on a relationship, taking on a girlfriend is a lot of responsibility and I'm not ready for that, or we're too far away from each other. I can't be responsible for you. Those are all, those catchphrases of men who are avoidant. Okay. A reluctance to rely on others for support. We talked about that. They tend to meet their own needs. A tendency to suppress emotions and not express their true feelings. So this is a big one. Things will happen, things that normal people will have a feeling about or an emotion about, and they will be, kind of neutral. They really won't be able to express their emotions. Everything gets pushed down. They may get out of a relationship and just push those feelings down, just repress those feelings. They may rebound and start seeing someone new because they will do anything not to feel their feelings. Feeling their feelings is a very uncomfortable thing for people who are avoidant. And they're not sure, they weren't taught like how to process their feelings. They weren't taught, how to deal with their feelings. So they push those feelings down. A preference for superficial or casual relationships. So if you find a person and they haven't been in a relationship longer than a year, they've never been married, especially if they're 35, 40, 45 years old, they have no children, like these people fear long-term responsibility, long-term commitment, even the commitment of children. They fear that. That is a long-term relationship that they would have to have with their children. Like they're not sure how to even be in a long-term relationship. So they have more casual or superficial relationships, or they have relationships where, oh, I'm going to choose this person because we look good together, and we'll post pictures and we'll do things and post about it, and people will be envious of us. But there's no depth to that relationship. There's no emotional intimacy. There's no true knowing of each other. Okay, a tendency to idealize past relationships and romanticize the past. So a lot of avoidant men, they have what we call the phantom ex. So they have the one that got away, the one woman that they were with, and now that she is removed from his life, he can sit around and fantasize about her. He can talk about her. He can remember all the good things about her. But the chances are pretty high that he self-sabotaged the relationship, or he discarded her even though the relationship was fine. Everything was going good, the relationship was going well, and he started to self-sabotage, or he ended the relationship because things got too close, things got too intimate, his feelings got involved, and he was like, nope, I'm not allowed to do that. I'm just going to let this person go and, rebound or go on my way or do something else. I don't have it in me. A lot of dismissive avoidant men, they believe that they are flawed. They believe that they can't make people happy. They can't give people what they want. And so they see a good relationship as, oh, nope, any moment I'm going to screw this up. Any moment something's going to go wrong. I need to get rid of this person. I need to end it. I just need to be done with this. So that is very characteristic of men who are avoidant. They have a fear of being controlled or trapped in a relationship. They have a difficulty in maintaining long-term relationships. Most of them have shorter relationships. If the relationship is long-term, what I have noticed is there's a lot of toxicity, or they're in a relationship with someone else who is equally avoidant. And again, there's no emotional intimacy. So it's kind of like roommate situations or ships passing in the night. They can be in long-term relationships where there's really no depth. There's no real intimacy or deep knowing of one another. And then a tendency to avoid conflicts and disagreements in relationships. That's a big one. So men who avoid conflict, men who avoid having hard conversations are avoidant men. Because again, emotions come up, whether it's your emotions, his emotions, he can't deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with it. And so he's saying, I can't do this. I want to sweep it under the rug. We don't have to talk about this now. I just don't have it in me to do this. And they're going to do everything in their power to avoid having hard conversations. And then lastly, they have a tendency to be a workaholic. So these type of men, they will lead you to believe that they have all these big hopes and big dreams, big things that they're doing, and that comes first, and that they don't balance, relationships and work very well. Like and this is the other thing, ladies, I want you to watch out for. They're going to set up the relationship from the beginning so that you cannot later on pull their coattail. They're going to set it up from the beginning. Hey, I've got this new business. I've got this new business venture. I've got this going on at work. I'm really busy. I have a big project going on. They're setting you up so that if ever they disappear, if ever they're not spending time with you, if ever they need to step away from the relationship, they're setting it up so that, hey, I told you what it is. I told you, there's my thumbs up. I told you that I'm not able to do X, Y, and Z. So just be mindful of that. Men who are giving a lot of importance to their job, giving a lot of importance to maybe their children from a previous relationship or family, they're setting you up so that they can, not meet your expectation. That's basically what's happening. All right, we're going to talk about the fearful avoidant man, who is very similar but different. So the fearful avoidant man, what's interesting about him is he is a mix of anxious and avoidant. He will have his anxious ways. He will be hyper focused. He will be looking to see, that you're happy. He will be attuned if you're unhappy. He will have elevated levels of anxiety. He will also avoid commitment. He'll have a negative view of himself, but he'll also have a negative view of others. He may even feel undeserving of a healthy relationship. I dated a person once who, told me, oh, my dad taught me how to get women, but I never learned how to keep them. And that was a very telling, thing that he said, because, it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yes, your relationships are all short-term relationships that you cannot maintain. And instead of learning how to maintain healthy relationships, instead of learning the relationship skills that are necessary to maintain healthy relationships, he felt doomed. Like, this is what it is. I know how to get a woman. I don't know how to keep a woman. I don't know how to maintain a healthy relationship. And I believe he feels doomed to continue doing that. Like, that's what my life is going to consist of, is having these short-term casual relationships. But trust me, that is going to take its toll over time. It will take its toll on everyone. Fearful avoidant men also have difficulty regulating their emotions. They can have high highs and low lows. They respond poorly or inappropriately to negative emotions. They have a higher likelihood of showing violence in their relationships. Be aware of that. So fearful avoidant men tend to be more emotional, right? They're not as logical or rational. They tend to act out and act on their emotions. They also tend to have a higher number of sexual partners, and they generally feel unsatisfied in their relationships. Fearful avoidant men are to some extent dopamine addicts. Like, they're always looking for the next best thing. They're always on to the next dopamine high. They don't know how to have that boring period of relationships where once that high kind of wears off, that honeymoon period wears down, they don't know how to just be in a normal, healthy, somewhat boring relationship. So they may foster drama or foster conflict, because they feed off of that. They really need to constantly have something going on. These people are also the kings of hot and cold. If you are getting a lot of hot and cold behavior, so coming on very strong, love bombing, or just being all about you, and then when that gets to be too much, or when they feel you actually responding or falling for them, now they're going to pull back. They're going to pull back. And then when they feel like they have the space they need, when they feel like, okay, this is all too much, I need to pull back, I need to go back into myself. When they feel like, okay, I'm going to now come back in, come on strong, I'm going to show interest in this person again, that can go on for years. That hot and cold, back and forth, that is the fearful avoidant. It can go on for years. This is the man who will discard you, and 3 to 6 months later will come back. He will re-engage you. The love affair will start again. Something will happen. He'll get sick of it, or he'll, it's now settling in again. Because remember, when we're coming back, it's all, exciting and fun. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad we're back together. That's going to calm down. Real life is going to show up, and then he's going to withdraw again. And you're going to have this back and forth, back and forth. There are women who have told me they have done this back and forth for 10 years. 10 years. And I don't want to see anyone waste that much of their life doing that. Okay? But it can be crazy making. It can be crazy making, because what's so interesting about avoidant men is they purposefully seek out women. They purposefully seek out relationships with women, or seek out women to be with. However, they, once they have it, they now neglect it, or they're like, oh, this woman's calling all the time. She's texting all the time. She wants to talk on the phone. She wants to come and visit. Yes, that's how relationships work. So once they have what it is they say they want, then they don't want it anymore. Like, this is all too much pressure. It's too much responsibility, and keep in mind that the way fearful avoidant men work, they show up great for the first 4 to 6 months. And right at about 6 months, when they can't keep the mask on, when they can't pretend anymore, that's when the real them is going to come out. And you're going to see more pulling away. You're going to see more distancing behaviors. And here's what you need to know about that. So I'm going to pull up how you're going to feel, okay, when these things happen. So I want you to ask yourself, if you're dating a man right now, and if he could possibly be avoidant, any of these feelings or emotions you have. Number 1, not valued. Number 2, emotionally deprived. Number 3, unimportant. Number 4, unable to truly connect with him. Number 5, held at arm's length. Number 6, confused. That is the number 1 word that women use when they're coming to me and they're talking about the man that they're with. I'm so confused. I don't know what to believe. Okay, because you're dealing with somebody avoiding. Number 7, not good enough. See how it gets you to question your worth and your value. Number 8, tentative. Number 9, as though you are doing something wrong. Number 10, lonely. That's the second one that I hear a lot. I feel lonely. I'm in a relationship with someone and I feel lonely. And then lastly, abandoned. And that is especially for people where the avoidant has discarded you. That is eventually going to happen. The avoidant man is going to get to a place emotionally where he's either bored or he may start to develop real feelings for you and he's scared. So 90% of avoidant men I know, it's all about feelings versus fears. So while in the beginning, the relationship seems great, he's excited about you, he's interested in you, he's like, oh wow, this is going to be great, and I'm going to try this dating thing again, I'm going to try this relationship thing again. Now keep in mind, he's had plenty of failed relationships before. But he meets you and he decides, hey, I'm going to give it a try again. I'm going to try this again. And again, starts out great, starts out interested, starts out kind of love bombing and kind of coming on strong. And oh my gosh, you're so great. You're so amazing. Da da da. And then as soon as he feels that energy start to reciprocate, as soon as he feels your feelings coming towards him, as soon as you start questioning, where are we going? What is this? What are we doing? That's when it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, no, I'm not ready for all this. I'm not ready. And then you're left like, what? You're pursuing me. You're calling me. You're sending me flowers. You're taking me places. What do you mean? Like, isn't that the point of the pursuit? For us to be together? Like, now you're in that land of confusion. What is happening? What is going on? Oh, no. Whoa. Like, yeah, I can't be roped into anything. I can't label this. I can't. See, that's when, again, the anxiety is going to come up. All the things are going to come up. And that's when that person is going to start to pull away, or that person could just all and out discard you. So I have had so many clients where they'll tell me I'm in a relationship with an avoidant person, or now I realize I was in a relationship with an avoidant person. Everything was going great. This person showed up. They broke up with me. They told me they can't do it. They can't give me what I want. I can't be what you need. It's too much. All the things that they say, and they ended the relationship out of the clear blue. They go on to block them, or they go on to unfriend them, unfollow them, or what have you. A lot of them rebound, especially the fearful avoidant man. He's going to immediately get into something else. And what's crazy is he will rebound with someone he barely knows, and he will literally pick up the relationship where it left off with you. He will pick it up with her. He will act as if this stranger that he just met that it's an extension of the relationship he was already in. So whatever it is you all were doing and wherever it is you all were going, he will do that with the new person. And you will feel devastated. You won't understand what is happening. This person was with me for a year, 2 years. And just like that, they break up with me. And 3 weeks later, a month later, they're in a relationship with this other person doing the things that we did together. It's incredibly hurtful. It leaves people despondent because they just like, did I not mean anything? Like, did anything we experienced and anything we did and said, does it all mean nothing? This person just discarded me and went on to someone else. So yes, this is incredibly hurtful. That's why I always tell women, I want you to tread very lightly with the avoidant man. To me, right now, the level of avoidant men is off the charts. And if I'm really being honest, they are the most dangerous men out there right now. People think it's the narcissist, right? I find that so interesting that everybody's a narcissist. Only, what is it? The last I checked, it was 5% of the population. About 5% of the population is a diagnosed narcissist. But let me be honest with you, about 30% of the population is avoidant. 30%, 40%, a very large percentage is avoidant. So in my world, the avoidant man is the most dangerous man when you're out here dating, because he will play along. He will appear emotionally available. He will, do all the things and make you think all your dreams are coming true. And then he will pull away. He will detach from you. He will abandon you. And it is incredibly hurtful, incredibly hurtful. So I want you to look for these signs. Keep in mind, time is the great equalizer. That is what's going to help you the most. So jumping in with both feet with a man, the number one thing you need to be worried about, especially if you're sleeping with him, is, of course, please don't jump in because he's a stranger. You don't know what he got. But what's really going to get damaged is your heart, because you're jumping in the first month, the first 2 months. And at that point, his avoidance hasn't kicked in. His avoidance has not come online yet. It's all fun and games until 3 to 6 months in. And then right at that 6-month mark, oh my God, she wants something from me. She wants something serious. She loves me, God forbid. These people are not going to say they love you. They're not going to say they miss you. None of the sort. Okay? But they're going to appear to be this wonderful, great person. And, oh my God, this person's meeting all the things and all my dreams are coming true and blah, blah, blah. No. If you jump in head first, trust me, 3 to 6 months later, it's going to feel like you got duped. Like, well, I'm totally confused. Like, you're discarding me and you pursued me. You're dogging me out. You're breaking up with me and getting into a rebound, and you came after me. Like, I wasn't checking for you. I was over here minding my business, and you come in my DM and you convinced me to go on a date and convinced me to do this and that with you. And then when I'm like, yeah, this is great. I really like this and I really like you and I'd love to get to know you even better. And you start asking deeper questions. You start having deeper conversations because you actually want to know this person. No, they don't want you to see them. They don't want you to peel the curtain back, right? They have a facade. They have a mask on. And they get a huge dopamine rush out of seeing you happy. That's what a lot of women don't realize. Men are playing the part. They're doing all these things with you all and giving you all these things and taking you all these places because they're getting a dopamine rush by seeing you happy, by seeing you post online, by seeing you talk to your friends and your family about him and what y'all are doing. That is what he's feeding off of. But guess what? He either doesn't have the money, he doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the energy or the effort to keep that up. So when that stops And now you're like, well, what's happening? We were going places and we were doing things and we were going on dates and I was coming to visit you and you were coming. What's different? Well, you know what? This is just too much for me. This is just stressing me out. I can't give you what you need. This is just too much. All this is just too much pressure. I need some space. Yeah, you're going to hear that phrase a lot. I need some space. And so therein starts the feeling lonely and feeling abandoned and wondering what you did. You didn't do anything. You are with an avoidant man. And that man, unfortunately, he has some ways of being that he has to work through and work out. So he has to discover his attachment style. And then once he knows what it is, he has to become more emotionally available. He has to become more securely attached. And that's something he has to want to do. There are plenty of men out here who want to do that. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. And they want to become more emotionally available. It's scary. It's very scary for them, but they want to try. And especially depending on the relationship they're in or the person that they're seeing. They don't want to lose that person. They want to experience a healthy relationship. They want to experience love. Avoidant men crave love just like everybody else. They just don't have a clue how to go about getting it. And they don't have a clue how to go about giving it. So they'll take whatever they can get. They'll take sex. They'll take casual relationships. They'll take superficial connections like, oh, we know each other through this. And outside of that, we don't know anything about each other, right? They'll just, I'll just take whatever I can get. I don't need to go any deeper. I don't need to, tell you all about my childhood. And then here's the other thing I find so interesting. They love to tell you that their childhood was idyllic, and it was anything but. It was not idyllic. Chances are there was a lot of parentification in their childhood. Chances are there was a lot of chaos in their childhood. Chances are they were ignored or neglected. And that's how they learned how to be avoidant. I can't depend on other people. I can't rely on other people. I'm a little parent myself. I take care of others. I can't let anybody else take care of me. I've got to be in control. I've got to be very rigid with my schedule. Like those are the things that soothe my anxiety. A lot of men who are avoidant have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of anxiety about a lot of different things. They have a lot of fears about a lot of different things. And if you call it out, if you see them and you say something about it, they will ghost. They will disappear. So a lot of avoidant men ghost because they don't have the emotional capacity to talk. Oh, that's the number one thing. I almost left that out. They're horrible communication skills. Avoidant men are horrible communicators. They will not communicate at all, or if they do, they will talk in circles. They will give you a bunch of word salad. They will not be direct. They will not be clear. They will just talk around in circles. They'll tell you what you want to hear, knowing full well that's not what they're going to do. Their communication skills suck. And the end all be all is they will just ghost. They will just ghost. They will disappear. You won't hear from them again, see them again. They're just gone because they do not have the emotional maturity or the emotional capacity to meet a person where they are, to love a person, to communicate with a person, to give a person, to let a person see them. They just don't have that in them. And so, ladies, I'm going to issue this warning. You are going to assess a man very quickly for avoidant attachment. Here's what I do. I've actually developed a little skill where I can determine pretty quickly if a man has avoidant tendencies. So number one, I am vulnerable. I am open. I am transparent. And I see how the man responds to that. So I'm willing to be appropriately vulnerable with him. I ask vulnerable questions and I see how he responds to that. I look for things like, is his day very rigidly scheduled? Does he plan things, or does he do things last minute? Can he be nailed down? The biggest one of all are his words and his deeds aligned? Because they will say one thing, but they will do another. And so if you notice that trait straight away, wow, he says one thing, but he does another. That's a big indication that you're dealing with someone who's avoidant, because he doesn't want to be caught. He doesn't want to be caught in, telling you this and then you holding him to that standard. So he'll say one thing, he'll do another. Okay, but most of these men, they're dangerous. And here's what's interesting. None of this, for the most part, is intentional. Unlike the narcissistic man, there is, in the narcissistic man's mind, there's almost a joy in hurting you. Like, he gets a kick out of hurting you. He gets a kick out of seeing you sad or hurting, or, he gets a kick out of it. Like, it's a sick, twisted game. Whereas the avoidant man, most of them are not self-aware. Most of them don't even realize what it is they're doing. Most of them don't realize they're self-sabotaging their relationship. Most of them, when they go to discard a person, it's because they're afraid. They will discard a perfectly lovely person, a perfectly good woman, because they're getting too close and it's scaring them. They're afraid that this woman could break their heart. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling feelings for her. I really like her. And, the last thing I want to do is get attached. So I just need to cut this off. I just need to end this. And the relationship could be totally fine. Everything's going great. And he will just discard that person. So, and then once that happens, he'll push those feelings down. He'll, move on to the next, or he'll busy himself with work or his creature comforts. He'll be doing all of these other things, going out with friends, because he's trying to push the feelings down. He's trying to push his emotions away. I really like this person, but you know what? I just can't take that chance. I can't take that chance on getting attached and really liking her and falling for her, and then she leave me. I just can't do it. But they are master self-sabotagers. They are the masters of, running away. Like, that's what they're really good at. They know how to self-sabotage a relationship. They know how to ruin a perfectly good relationship. But I want you to take your time. I want you to look for these signs. I want you to be vulnerable and be open. I want you to ask vulnerable questions. And I want you to really listen to the answer. I want you to determine, if he is in fact emotionally available. And sometimes, I remember doing this, sometimes I'll just ask a man straight out, would you consider yourself to be emotionally available? And based on his answer to that one question, I can tell a lot. If there's a lot of uncomfortable shifting in the chair and changing the subject, and, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by emotionally available? Like, what? You're going to learn a lot just by being direct. Okay, but a lot of it is lead with vulnerability. Lead with a level of vulnerability. And if he pulls away, if he disappears, if that makes him uncomfortable, that's your answer. All right. These men will also introduce sex very quickly. That's another big sign. Because remember, they don't want the slow burn. They don't want to actually fall in love. They don't want to actually get to know you and really like you. They want to have fake intimacy. And that is what casual sex is. It's not real intimacy. It's fake intimacy. So because we're doing this very intimate act, we're having intimacy. No, you're not. You're having sex. You're not having emotional intimacy. And you will find that sex is very robotic, or he's not looking at you, or that sex is very sporadic. Like, he'll get it and say, okay, we had sex, and a week will go by, 2 weeks will go by. And again, keep in mind that he doesn't want to have sex that often. He doesn't want to look in your eyes. He doesn't want to, have your skin touch his skin. Sometimes these men will have sex with their clothes on because all of that is signaling they're not emotionally available. All of those things are actually very intimate. Taking all your clothes off to have sex is very intimate. Looking at a person, looking them in their eyes is very intimate. Talking to them is very intimate. And cuddling with them afterwards is very intimate. Dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance will not do that. Like that's the last thing they want, is to hear you breathing beside them, to feel you on them. They want to disconnect as soon as they can. So they will participate in the sex act and then they will disconnect. And they don't want to catch feelings. They don't want to get their feelings involved. But yeah, they will try to get sexual as soon as possible, because that's the fake intimacy that they're looking to get. They're not looking for real intimacy, and they're not looking for getting to know a person over 3 or 4 months. No. When are we having sex? What are we doing? Why aren't we having sex? Those are the things you're going to hear over and over and over, because that is the fake intimacy that they crave. So because I'm having sex with this person, that, I'm getting something. I'm getting some form of, intimacy, but it's not real intimacy. Okay? So these are some of the signs and signals I want you to look for. And okay, we're back. All right, my apologies. I'm on the internet. I'm on the Wi-Fi. I don't know why it's going out. My apologies. But I'm giving you this information not so that you can demonize avoidant men, but so that you can be aware of them and you cannot be hurt by them. So this is not a bash session. This is not a, tell me all your most awful stories about avoidant men. I have plenty of them myself. However, I've developed a level of compassion for them. So I believe two things can be true at the same time. I can have a level of compassion for men who are avoidant. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. I don't know why it keeps disconnecting. I can have a level of compassion for avoidant men, and I can also avoid avoidant men. Like, those two things are true. I do not date men who are avoidant anymore because I want to know sooner rather than later if a man is emotionally unavailable to me. And I have worked very hard on becoming more emotionally available. So I want you to take the attachment style quiz in the link in the description box. Determine what your attachment style is. If you're dating someone or in a relationship or married, have them take the attachment style and try to see if, if you're insecurely attached, try to see if you can work together on healing your attachment style. But this type of work is very individual. It's really up to the person to acknowledge their attachment issues and to do the work on their attachment issues. This is not something that you're going to make somebody do or drag them into therapy. They have to want to do it. But ladies, be very mindful of men who are avoidant. They are doing a lot of damage right now. You have a lot of avoidant men out here. And they're causing a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. And you want to avoid them. And who's to say that if we get wise, if we can see these men coming and we can avoid them, maybe they will wake up. They will realize, you know what? I think this is me. Like, I'm really struggling to find women to date. I'm really struggling in maintaining relationships. Maybe it has something to do with me. But you know me. That's what I truly believe, that it's going to take us becoming aware, us, leaving certain types of men alone. And when those men cannot find women to engage with, maybe, just maybe, they will look in a mirror, take a good, hard, long look in a mirror and see who the problem really is. Okay? So take some of this education. There's so much more education here on YouTube, the Personal Development School. There's so many great YouTube channels that talk all about attachment style. Adam Lane Smith is another one. He did a whole series on avoidant men. Please go over there and check it out. But there's so many great content creators that talk about attachment style. And again, the goal is not to villainize, not to demonize. I actually feel really sorry for these men. I feel truly, truly sorry because they're not able to have healthy relationships. They're not able to have healthy connections. They feel messed up inside. They feel broken. They feel anxious. They feel unlovable. That's what's really going on inside of them. And so they'll take whatever they can get, which is really not much of anything, a very superficial connection, all in the name of what I find so interesting is they keep wanting to connect. They keep wanting to engage with women, and yet they're avoidant. So that's the thing that is just beyond sad to me. They keep reaching out, but they don't have a clue how to maintain their relationships. They don't have a clue how to have a healthy relationship. And those relationships end over and over and over. So tell me your thoughts. Tell me your comments. If you have ever dated an emotionally unavailable man, how long it lasted, and, if you're out of that relationship, what are some of the lessons that you learned? But this is the man that I think we need to be on the lookout for. We love talking about the narcissist and the narcissist. No, it is the avoidant man. Ladies, what you don't realize is everybody has a little bit of narcissism. Like everybody has a little bit of selfishness. Everybody has a little bit of grandiosity and, but it's people who have the childhood trauma. It's people who have the things from their past that they're not dealing with. And they develop these patterns. Those are the people we really need to be on the lookout for, because not everybody is a diagnosed narcissist. It's only 5 or 6% of the population. But you got a lot of a-holes out here. You got a lot of avoidant men out here. You got a lot of F-boys. You got a lot of, got a lot of players. Like, you got a lot of people with problems. They may not be a diagnosed narcissist. They're just not great people. And if I'm being really real, it's because they have trauma. They have wounds. They've been broken. And they're not doing what they need to do to get healthy. That's it. All right. I hope this was helpful. I thank you so much to everyone who watches my channel. I got to keep my hands still because every time I do the thumbs up, every time I wave my hands around, it brings up different little things on the phone that I'm actually recording this video on. So that's always really funny to me. I got to keep my hands still. I got to learn how to talk without moving my hands. But thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it. Please drop down in the comments. Let me know your experiences. Let me know how things are going with you. Take the attachment style quiz. A part of this journey is you learning about your own attachment style. Okay? Take the attachment style quiz. Look up if you're anxiously attached, if you're dismissive avoidant, if you're fearful avoidant. Look up videos on it. And start doing your own work, because here's what you need to know. If you are insecurely attached, you will attract insecurely attached men. It's unlikely that you're going to attract a securely attached man. Those are two totally different dating pools. So securely attached people over here, insecurely attached people over here. Those two dating pools do not cross. They do not collide. It's very rare. Okay, so if you want to get out of the insecurely attached people's dating pool, you have got to become securely attached. And that's what I did. That's how I freed myself. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to get better at this. And yes, I'm going to see these avoidantly attached people coming. All right, have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful long weekend. Stay safe, enjoy, and as always, stay open to love.